I like to think of myself as pretty unbreakable, but a loss to the Kansas City Chiefs backups to knock us out of the playoffs would break me. So please, Denver Broncos, don't let it happen. In this video, we go behind enemy lines, talk to my main man, Michael Darcy, who works for the Kansas City Chiefs, about how the Broncos can avoid the trap game, just how many Kansas City Chiefs starters will be sitting, what this game means to Kansas City, what it means to us, why it maybe isn't the best idea for the Chiefs to be resting so many dudes. That and so much more in this video. If you're new to the channel, I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan named Ben. Helps me in the YouTube algorithm out a ton if you would like and subscribe. But let's giddy up. My man, Michael Darcy, how you living, bro?
I'm doing fantastic, Ben. Who would have thought that in Week 18, the final week of the season, we are going to play in an important game for the Denver Broncos? Definitely not me. I did not expect that.
Yeah. Well, I thought this game was going to be important. It would have been awesome to have won any of the last prior to and not have this game as important because, man, dude, this is feeling like a trap game. What are the thoughts in Kansas City? Like, do you think Andy Reid actually wants to win this game?
You know, this is a divisional game, and divisional games are always important to Andy Reid. But here's the thing. This game is not serious because the Chiefs are not playing any of their starters. I mean, Chris Jones isn't going to play. Travis Kelce's not playing. Mahomes is not even going to be active for this game. So they're not going to be playing their best players. And it took a blocked field goal to beat you guys the first time at Arrowhead. I know you're very well aware of that. But, you know, I don't think that talent-wise we're going to have the same amount of talent on the field. But with that being said, Carson Wentz is a capable backup. I think he could maybe do some sneaky things, maybe pull off a much closer game than we all think. But do I think the Chiefs are going to win? Probably not.
Oh, dude, that feels so good to hear. Talk to me about like why when you hear Dan Campbell and then Jim Harbaugh and Bill Belichick all came out and were like pretty anti-resting starters, and we're like, that just sends a bad message to the rest of the players. Like, oh, we don't care if you get hurt, DeAndre Hopkins, or any of the other players on your team who are playing. Like, this is the NFL. You can only have 53 active dudes, so you really can only rest like 7. Why does Andy Reid want to do this, and does that send a bad message to other Chiefs?
You know, I don't think it sends a bad message. I think that, you know, like you said, there are only so many guys that can sit. This isn't a college roster. You can't rest all 11 guys on both offense and defense. So guys are going to have to play. But I see it as an opportunity for someone like Hollywood Brown, who is coming off of a shoulder injury that hasn't really played a lot this season. So he can get more reps and ingrained in this offense. And DeAndre Hopkins has some personal incentives that if he goes out there and gets a couple catches, he can, make a little bit more money. So I don't think it's necessarily setting a bad precedent for certain players to rest while other players don't. Like Chris Jones has a calf strain. They're not going to rush him back for a meaningless Week 18 game, when the Chiefs already have everything wrapped up. And so I think certain guys have earned themselves a little bit of a day off, and certain guys that, I'm going to be looking at very closely, thinking that they could maybe have, a more developed role in the postseason if they go out in Denver and perform well. So I think that resting guys is the right approach. Now, it's going to be a long time before they play again because, they are going to have this next week off and then, back at practice for whoever they face in the first round, second round of the playoffs. Hopefully, maybe the Denver Broncos, if they can go into Buffalo and beat them. But I do think that, the Chiefs need rest. And so this is a good time to rest the starters like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, well, I was trying to pull it up. It wasn't here. Does it scare you at all watching college football playoffs that every single team that had a bye week could not handle, like, even though they were better than the teams they were coming into, all those teams that had bye weeks couldn't handle 30 days of rest and then not looking extremely rusty? Now you're going to have the Kansas City Chiefs, who haven't played since Christmas Day, 25 days of rest, depending on what day they have that Saturday or the Sunday game in the divisional matchup. Does that scare you at all?
It would scare me 5 years ago. And in fact, I'm going to pull out a game that is still very near and dear to my heart. That 2019 divisional game against the Texans, where the Chiefs found themselves down by 24 in the blink of an eye, and then they came roaring back. When they were down by 24, I remember watching it thinking, oh my gosh, we just lost. We just lost in, 15 minutes. I thought the game was over.
Yeah, I did too. And everyone was losing their mind in Denver, excited. I
thought the game was over, but they were able to come roaring back. But I do think that the rest isn't going to be as big of an issue because this team has played in so many playoff games and in so much, extra time when everyone else is enjoying their offseason. The Chiefs are playing football. That really wears on a team after 2 or 3 seasons. So I do think that they need rest, and having a little bit more time to get healthy is a good thing. And you saw that last year, Travis Kelce didn't go for his 1,000-yard record, and he got an extra week off to sit and recuperate, and he kind of got unleashed in the playoffs. And so I don't think that, for guys like Mahomes and Kelce, that they need to go out there to stay sharp when they're both nursing injuries. So just let them sit.
Yeah. Okay. So then we're prepping for Carson Wentz, perhaps a backup practice squad dude as well. Do you think we'll see a very typical offense that, like, is Andy Reid going to change anything, or is it going to be just like plug and play? You're putting Wentz in the Mahomes spot, or like, will the offense change, I guess?
I don't think the offense will change. I think they're going to get the ball out really quickly, and they're not going to, if they run the ball, it's going to be probably with Carson Steele. I don't expect Isaiah Pacheco to play. He's kind of dealing with a rib injury. Maybe we see a little bit of Kareem Hunt, but I think it's probably going to be Carson Steele, and they'll just try to throw the ball to his receivers, but the ball's going to come out very quickly.
Like it did in that Pittsburgh game? That was crazy,
like it did in that Pittsburgh game. I expect them to get the ball out really quickly, find the receivers, move the ball down the field. I don't think it's going to be as efficient as if Mahomes was playing, but again, Carson Wentz is fighting for a job in the NFL next year. So if he goes out there with, Andy Reid as a coach, and he's had 10 days to figure out how to carve up this Broncos defense, they're going to give Carson Wentz the best shot to play and play to win. So I do think that he's going to be prepared against your defense. And how tired would you say the Broncos are at this point in the season?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of lucky in that we are coming off. We had the latest possible bye you could have, so we had that week 14 bye, and then we had a Thursday night game and a nice long rest before the Bengals, and now we're on a little longer rest, not quite as long as you, but I think that's been something that's been crazy impressive. Is like we have no one on our injury report, and you look at yours, and it's like Santa's naughty list.
It was bad.
Yeah, very bad.
Well, and they got guys on the injury report. Like I was looking at Thursday's injury update, and it's like Mahomes is on there. They've got Trent McDuffie on there, Travis Kelce, or maybe not Kelce, but like all the guys that aren't going to play this week are on the injury report.
So do you think no McDuffie? That would make me thrilled.
Yeah, I don't expect to see him.
Okay, so no McDuffie, no Chris Jones, and then no Kelce, no Pacheco, no Mahomes. So you got basically your best 3 defenders and your best 3 offensive players. Let's go, Darce. Thanks here's what we'll do. Let's do this. You let us into the playoffs. We'll let Carson Wentz just ball out of control so we can pawn him off on the Vegas Raiders. And it's like a win-win, right?
That'd be fantastic. You know, give the Raiders Carson Wentz and he'll revert back to the mean. But I will say really quickly, so I'm one of the people that want the Broncos in the playoffs. I'm one of those fans that would rather the Chiefs play the Broncos in the second round, if that's what ends up happening, than play the Bengals potentially in the second round. And I get told by Chiefs fans that, oh, like you're scared of the Bengals. I'm not scared of the Bengals, but when we're talking about going to a Super Bowl, what is the path of least resistance? What is the easiest path? And historically speaking, I'm not saying that Denver would be easy, but matchup-wise, we match up better with Denver than we do with Cincinnati. And Cincinnati, as you guys just saw, I don't want anything to do with them. They're playing really good football.
Yeah, I think you'd light them up offensively. But yeah, all year, because we do the AFC West Roundtable, I've doubted the Chiefs, and now it feels like the three-peat is kind of inevitable. But I'm hoping we give you a run for your money that second round of the playoffs, and this time we don't let you block the kick. So that would be hard for Sean Payton to beat the Chiefs twice in 3 weeks. I think that's also a competitive advantage for y'all, is that like, man, if it is us and we do beat Buffalo and then we play you again, that's a bizarre situation, you know?
Yeah, it would be weird. But another thing, like if you guys do win on Sunday, that means that we probably didn't show our hand to you.
Exactly. But we'll have to show, we'll empty our clip. Yeah, we'll empty our clip. Whereas you've been playing with half your, body tied behind your back. And so that'll be kind of a huge disadvantage for us, but who knows, man?
Yeah. But I expect, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to see final score prediction.
Oh, Well, that's what I was going to say. I expect the game to be close. I think this is a divisional game. I don't care who's playing. The game's going to be close. And you've seen over the past couple of seasons, we beat the Chargers last year with backups. Now, that was a very different Chargers team. And this is a Broncos team that is fighting to go to the playoffs for the first time since 2015. So there is, would you say that this is the most important Broncos game in the last decade?
Yes. Oh, dude, 100%. I mean, it's felt like that every one of these weeks. Like I would have said Saturday night it was. But now it's got to be because this is a playoff game for us. So, yeah, first biggest
Wow.
game since 2015.
That is,
Absolutely wild.
the last time the Broncos won, a playoff game, I was 12 years old.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Just not trying to make you feel old, but yeah, it's been a long time. I mean, they go back to when my Kansas City Royals won the World Series. So yeah, it's a long time ago. But I feel like final score wise, I'm expecting an ugly close game. And I do think Denver's going to win. I feel like Carson Wentz isn't going to play the whole game. I think they're going to try to rotate Chris Oladokun, our third string guy, in. So I expect, I'm going to say 24-17 Denver. But if Carson Wentz plays the whole game, I would not be surprised if we see an upset.
Oh, okay, I'm going 31-13 Denver Broncos. Just I think we got to get up early but if it's close, that's what scares me, man. You guys in a close game anytime scares me. But let's go 31-13 Denver Broncos, and we're on to the playoffs, and we'll see you week 2, and we'll do more content before the Denver Broncos play y'all in the playoffs. Do you like our chances against Buffalo? Like, honestly?
No.
Why?
I think Buffalo is probably the best team in the AFC outside of the Chiefs. And you got to go to their house.
Dude. I think
you could beat Baltimore. I think you could beat Baltimore. Playoff Josh Allen versus playoff Lamar Jackson is a very different beast.
That's a good point. Yeah. Well, we're fixing to find out, man. So I'll do make sure you check out plug your channel, and then I will be hopping on your channel, and everybody go watch that.
Yes, sir. You guys can find me on YouTube at KC Sports Report. That's kind of the one-stop shop for everything that I do. Also, go check out the AFC West Roundtable. Ben and I do stuff each and every single week, talking about everything AFC West related, whether it's Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers, or Raiders. We've both had fun giving the Raiders guy a lot of crap. We love Graf, but we hate his team. Yes. And it's kind of how it works around here. Graf just can't stand our teams, but we can't stand his team.
100%, man. We can unite in that. The Denver Broncos will beat the Chiefs. We will be in the playoffs. We are on to the Buffalo Bills. Cannot wait to break it all down with you. Last thing before we are on our way out here, I want to give a massive shout out to Mike Carmelini. He is actually hosting a new show on YouTube that I am hoping, beyond hope, that I get invited to. It's going to be called Mic'd Up, and basically he's going to have different Broncos media personalities battle it out, and it's going to be wild and insane and awesome. But he does these rankings on his Twitter where he says hey, here's the best Twitter follow for Broncos dudes. Here's the best podcast for Broncos dudes. Here's the best YouTube for Broncos dudes. And Sports Talk Denver, because of all y'all, is number 3 in Mike's ranking. So that's awesome. Humbled, excited, and just lucky to be doing this with all of you. And lucky to be doing on a year we're making the playoffs, and that's something we can all believe in. Oh!